I am Dr. Unni Moopan. I am standing in front of Islamic Center of Long Island. It is established in 1982 in Westbury of Long Island. This institute was established in 1982 and has been gradually increasing in size as well as its activities. Although there have been interfaith activities from the very beginning, gradually it expanded to non-Abrahamic faiths, and now we have formal Interfaith Institute working here from 2015 onwards. Every year we conduct an annual award function recognizing somebody who is very active in the interfaith activities, and this is our third award function.
Well, welcome to the Interfaith Institute of the Islamic Center of Long Island. It's a pleasure to share with you a few thoughts about what we are doing here today. Today is the third annual awards event for the Interfaith Institute, and today's focus will be on Jewish-Muslim relations since the Prophet's time, which is 1400 years. So we'll hear a little bit about the history, and then we will focus on basically what is happening in the United States between the two communities. The Muslims and Jews have established what we call the Muslim Jewish Advisory Council, MJAC, which addresses the issues of hate crimes, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and what's happening in the larger community. And so that we will be sharing. The two co-chairs of that MJAC, Mr. Farooq Atwari and Mr. Stanley Bergman, are here with us. And later on, they'll be addressing the group and sharing with what they have learned and how they have managed the stuff and what's going on. So it's a happy event, it's a celebration, and we'll be giving our third annual Interfaith Institute Award to Rabbi Jerome Davidson. Rabbi Davidson is the gentleman who, in 1992, established the American Muslims-Jews Dialogue in Long Island, where the Islamic Center of Long Island and the Temple Bethel in Great Neck got together and established what we call the Amjid Dialogue, which has been a tremendous success and is a model for the rest of the country. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and it's fun to be here and introduce this great event for the watchers of this very interesting program.
Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful October fall day. My name is Seema Rahman. I'm on the Interfaith Institute Board as well as the Islamic Center of Long Island's board. I'd like to introduce Dr. Moopan. He's on the Interfaith Institute Board, and he's going to welcome everybody today.
In 1982, the Islamic Center of Long Island was established, and although there were a lot of interfaith activities going on from the very beginning, a formal Interfaith Institute was launched in 2015. And we have been holding an annual award function to recognize someone who is very active in the field of interfaith activity every year. And this is our third such function. Now, why interfaith activity? If you look into the history of the world, from the very beginning of the faith, there have been interfaith activities. But in the beginning, rather than interfaith activities, most of the history shows us that most of the major conflicts in the world were because of the faith. Rivalry between faiths and fight between faiths launched many world conflicts. At the same time, we can see that there have been interfaith activities and harmony going on from the very beginning. One example is, if you look in India's history, during the Mughal period, in 16th century, Emperor Akbar initiated the understanding and tolerance between Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Christianity. I'm glad that throughout the world, the interfaith activity is on the rise, and hopefully one day it will come that people will realize all religions are for the same purpose. And with that background, I would like to introduce the next speaker, Brother Khalid Latif. He is one of the board members of Interfaith Institute, and his background is that he was a prison chaplain in Long Island. In addition, he was the director of a school district, and above all, he is a very accomplished writer, publisher of articles as well as books. And he is dedicated to advancing interfaith activities. With that background, I invite Khalid to the podium. Thank you.
Prophet Muhammad was a descendant of Ishmael, the forefather of the Arabs, and he was also a descendant of Isaac, the forefathers of the Jews. He was born and raised in a polytheistic sanctuary of Mecca. The prophet occasionally came in contact with Hanifs, Jews, Christians, and those of other faiths, some of whom traveled there for purposes of trade. When he proclaimed prophecy at the approximate age of 40, his monotheistic message he presented as a revival of the teachings of Abraham, and he likened himself to the brother of Moses. It decreed that Jews and Muslims would both be believers. It stipulated that all citizens were equal. Before Prophet Muhammad's time, the pagan Arabs believed that Allah, their highest God of the heavens and earth, the only God who was not present in or around the Kaaba, was the same God of the Jews. Finally, I just would like to say, we, the Muslims and Jews in the United States of America, must do all we can to bring peace to the human family in the Middle East. And with the support of our brothers and sisters of other faiths, we can make the world more peaceful. Thank you.
I have the pleasure of introducing our next speaker, Dr. Sharon Koren, who is an associate professor of medieval Jewish culture at Hebrew Union College, Jewish Institute of Religion, for short HUCJIR.
I'd like to talk to you about the concept of convivencia, that is coexistence, which is a term that scholars apply to a period in Jewish history and Muslim history and Christian history of the Iberian Peninsula. The first Islamic dynasty, the first caliphate, was the Umayyad Caliphate. And the Umayyad Caliphate, based in Syria, fell in 750, that is CE, 750, to a caliphate known as the Abbasids. And the Abbasids wanted to ensure their rule, and so they killed every Umayyad that they could, every male Umayyad, with the exception of one. One young man escaped, and his name was Abd ar-Rahman. And Abd ar-Rahman fled to the furthest edges of the Islamic Empire at that time, which was the Iberian Peninsula. And he established an emirate, that is, he was like the governor of the town called Cordoba. And he established what was known as the Cordoban emirate, a governor. He was a governor of Cordoba. And when he was governor of Cordoba, he chose Cordoba as a site because it had already been a capital for Christians, and it had been a capital for the Romans, a center for the Romans. And so we find just in the very beginning, we find the interweaving of Christian culture and Islamic culture and pagan culture, because they chose a space that had already been a center of culture.
Dr. Farooq Ahmad Khan is a physician who was awarded mastership in American College of Physicians and who has held numerous leadership positions over the years. He has served as chair of medicine at Nassau University Medical Center in New York and as a consultant at King Fahd Medical Center in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Dr. Khan has also held senior and leadership positions within the community organizations. He has been the president and chairman of the Islamic Center of Long Island and served on the Majlis Shura board of the Islamic Society of North America. He was also the president of Nergis Dutt Memorial Foundation. Dr. Khan is a founding member of the Islamic Center of Long Island and a co-founder with Rabbi Jerome Davidson, who we'll hear from later, of the award-winning program American Muslims and Jews in Dialogue, AMJID. He was also the co-host of the Catholic Telecare show, TV show, Our Muslim Neighbors, with the late Reverend Thomas Hartman and Rabbi Mark Gelman. Dr. Khan initiated and helped launch the Interfaith Institute of the Islamic Center of Long Island. He presently serves as the chair of the Interfaith Institute's Board of Trustees. Please welcome Dr. Farooq Ahmad Khan.
My task is to walk you through what Rabbi Davidson initiated with us here in Long Island, which we call American Muslims and Jews in Dialogue. One of the things we have been doing here over the past 3 years is each year recognizing some individual who has done something which really stands out. One of the things we have been doing here over the past 3 years is each year recognizing some individual who has done something which really stands out. And the first recipient was Larisha Hawkins, Professor Larisha Hawkins. Last year we had Professor Diana Eck from Harvard University, who runs a program of pluralism and in fact has used ICLI as a case study in her studies at Harvard. This year we're delighted to recognize Rabbi Jerome Davidson. Let me just briefly introduce Jerry. Rabbi Jerome K. Davidson is the Rabbi Emeritus of Temple Beth El of Great Neck. He serves on the faculty of the Hebrew Union College, Jewish Institute of Religion, and in the past was president of the HUC-JIR Rabbinic Alumni Association and a member of the HUC-JIR Board of Governors. Rabbi Davidson is a former president of the Synagogue Council of America and in his youth was national president of the National Federation of Temple Youth. In 1994, he was chosen by the New York Board of Rabbis as the Rabbi of the Year, the first Reformed rabbi to receive this award. And Arfa and I were very honored to attend that function in Manhattan. I'll skip portions of his CV because we want to get on to the main thing. Rabbi Davidson is a founding board member of the American Jewish World Service, which is devoted to serving human needs throughout the world. An acknowledged leader in matters of social and communal concern, Rabbi Davidson has served several times as president of the Great Neck Clergy Association. He has created a number of dialogues programs between Catholics, Muslims, and African Americans, and members of the Jewish community. The American Jews, Muslims and Jews in Dialogue, AMJID, which I referred to, between Temple Beth El and Islamic Center of Long Island was initiated by Rabbi Davidson in 1992. AMJID was one of the first in the United States and has served as a model nationwide. Rabbi Davidson and his wife, Dr. Gail S. Davidson, who is with us today, an art historian, are the parents of two sons, Rabbi Joshua Davidson of Temple Emmanuel of New York and his wife Mia, and I don't know if Jeremy is here yet. There we are, okay. And Jeremy Davidson, who's a music director in a city public school. It's a pleasure to have the whole Davidson family here. So, in recognition of Rabbi Davidson's visionary leadership in establishing and nurturing the American Muslims and Jews in Dialogue, the Interfaith Institute of Islamic Center of Long Island is delighted to present the third annual IFI Award to Rabbi Jerome Davidson. Terry, if you could walk up to this stage, please. That is beautiful. Thank
Thank you very, very much. Very, very much.
Recognition of his visionary leadership in establishing and nurturing the American Muslim-Jewish dialogue, AMJ.
I am, of course, very grateful for this honor and thank everyone who was involved in selecting me and giving me the opportunity to bring my family here. And the only two that were not mentioned are Lena and Michaela, our two beautiful granddaughters. And we are very proud, all of us, of each other. And I think we are very, very proud to be able to be here with you and to have shared this wonderful event. I do have to say, however, that this award really belongs... Oh, you want to do something else? Oh, okay. Oh, thank you very much. Because I was just about to say that this award and being here and the entire program and vision is right out of the mind and the heart and the hand, as our opening speaker discussed, of Farouk Khan and Arfa and many other folks in the...
So thank you, Dr. Khan. First of all, thank you for inviting me. I'm so delighted to be here. But I'm going to ask Anna Kaplan, who's councilwoman in the town of North Hempstead, because this is from all of us in the town of North Hempstead. When I see Assemblyman Chuck Levine has walked in as well. So first of all, it's so wonderful to be here at the Islamic Center of Long Island. And when I come here, I truly feel that I'm with friends and family. And that's an environment that you've set up with Dr. Chowdhury, with Habib Ahmed, all our good friends who are always so welcoming in every way. But Jerry, we're here to honor you. And I think of how prescient you and Dr. Khan were in starting an American Muslim-Jewish dialogue all the way back in 1992. And you think about where we are now, where we're together, but the natures of forces in our country are trying to divide. And that is never a good thing. An attack on one religion is an attack on every religion. And we must stand together to make sure that that is not the case. In North Hempstead, we actually did a whole program, Not in Our Town, saying that messages of hate and prejudice have no place in our town of North Hempstead, not in our town. But again, thank you for the wisdom that you had in reaching out to Dr. Khan. Dr. Khan, thank you for your wisdom in joining together, because it has set the stage for the kind of Muslim-Jewish relationships that we know are so strong and that will continue far into the future. And so it wouldn't be an event if we didn't have a proclamation. And there are a lot of whereases, but we are proclaiming that Sunday, the 7th of October, be declared a day of special recognition throughout the town of North Hempstead for Rabbi Jerome K. Davidson in honor of receiving the 3rd Annual Interfaith Institute Award from the Islamic Center of Long Island.
And if I could take this time to invite Farouk and Stan. So we have two distinguished business folks here. Stanley Bergman, CEO of Henry Schein, Fortune 500 company, and Farouk Atwari, who also is a member of the Institute board, and who's the CEO of Ethan Allen. And they are the co-chairs of the national dialogue that's going on, national advocacy that's going on, titled MJAC, Muslim Jewish Advisory Council. One of them is from South Africa, one of them is from Kashmir. You have to figure that out.
So, I was asked to talk a little bit about why MJAC and why we're both involved. You'll see we come from different parts of the world, but the thinking is pretty similar. We thought maybe we should bring in imams, rabbis, politicians, retired politicians. And we said, yes, we would do that. But the goal was really to find business leaders that would lead this, because actually business is generally quite progressive when it comes to these issues, because business in general has to do business with everyone, because by definition, if you're prejudiced, you're not going to get customers. So we in business have a particular mindset. So we started the initiative in 2016, invited a number of people from all walks of life, politicians from both sides of the aisle. This was going to be bipartisan, academics, business leaders, yes, rabbis, and the initiative was begun.
When we talk of interfaith, in Kashmir, on both sides, we went to school in Catholic schools. Then I came to here, and my family knew a family in Brooklyn. I was living in Queens, and there were a doctor, Mimi and Jerry Levy. I mean, I must have met Jewish people before, but this was the first time really. Somebody told me they're Jewish. So they took me in, and almost adopted me, and after a year they said, don't live in Queens, because coming from Queens to Brooklyn on subway was not easy. In Flatbush. So I moved to Flatbush, because I could have great meals on the weekends. But more than that, I came to understand the Jewish people. I went to the Passovers and bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs and all those kinds of things. But they took me in, and and even now the children are great friends. So I could understand. Of course, as I said, I studied 10 years in Catholic schools. In going back in Kashmir we have Hindus, we have Sikhs, we have Muslims, we all live together. We had to. And we didn't have an issue.
As you can imagine, these two gentlemen are quite busy. And I promised Stan that we'll close the shop at 4 o'clock. He has other engagements. And with Farouk, I can take liberties. Farouk and I go back to the late 50s, early 60s, so we can talk forever about our adventures. Some of the things he says are a little bit kind of... but then we had a session here on fake news 3 weeks ago. It was fabulous. Yeah. And so, if you would join me in giving them a great round of applause.
I just brought 2 very brief texts. The one gift of offering a benediction is that you get to paint a picture of the world as it should be. We've heard a lot of allusions to what's wrong, and the purpose of prayer is to help us to visualize the world that we want to create together. So the first text is from the prophet Isaiah, who, in contemplating what the perfection of the world might look like, said this: I will bring them to my holy mountain, and I will make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their offerings and sacrifices will be accepted on my altar, for my house shall be called a house of prayer for all peoples. And although we may each have our own individual pathway up that mountain, what we all seek is oneness and unity. We seek mutual recognition and dignity and love and peace. Which brings me to my second prayer, which some of you may recognize as the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi, one of my favorites. And he said, God, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in the giving that we receive. It is in the pardoning that we are pardoned. It is in the dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. Thank you, everybody.